So the Golden State Valkyries are now official. The expansion draft went from a blip on the schedule to an all-out event. We got 30 minutes of coverage on December 6th as the Valkyries built their first roster. Natalie Nakase was announced as their first coach in mid-October. A former UCLA player, Nakase has over 16 years of coaching experience, including 10 years under Tyronn Lue as an assistant coach for the LA Clippers before winning 2 championships with the Aces as an assistant coach. She was also the top scout for the Aces, so she put those skills to use and went into the draft intent on picking players that could fit her demanding, selfless, and championship coaching style. She wants to bring a winning mindset from Vegas to the already winning culture of the Golden State franchise. The Valkyries selected one player from each of the active 12 teams. We don't know who was specifically protected on each team, and it doesn't look like they're going to release that information anytime soon, if at all. From the Atlanta Dream, they selected Alania Rupert. She played for the Aces as a rookie, so there is a familiarity with the coach. She's a very skilled 4 with the capability to play the 5. She can stretch the floor, which I'm sure played a major part in her selection. I'm sure they like her passing, as well as her ability to open up the floor for cutting and other drivers. She looks like a solid player, key for a franchise's rotation. From the Chicago Sky, the Golden State Valkyries selected Maria Condi, a true wing player that can shoot and score off actions. She's a high-level playmaker with good size, capable of making crafty reads and proactive passes from all areas. She's a beast in transition, on and off the ball. Out of all the players taken on Friday, Condi is probably the biggest wild card at her position if she decides to come over to the WNBA from playing overseas. They picked up Veronica Burton from the Connecticut Sun. She plays the point and is a steady facilitator. She's a top 10 defender for guards in the WNBA. She's improved each year as a scorer and a shooter, so getting this much time and opportunity to flesh out her game, we should see some good production from her, maybe even a long-term piece for the Valkyries. Now from the Indiana Fever, they ended up getting Temi Fagbenle. No one knows why she was available in this draft, but the Valkyries definitely picked up a sleeper here. Out of the bigs they selected, Fagbenle is probably the most available location, physicality, and contract-wise. After a 4-year break from the WNBA, we all saw her flashes in the playoffs when she played for the Fever alongside Caitlin Clark. She had one of her best years with career highs in points, rebounds, and blocks. She's a true post player that can run the floor with physicality and athleticism, which honestly today is one of the rarities. The way she plays and in her position is actually a rare find, so this is a magnificent pickup for Golden State. I think she'll pair really well with the other bigs, those that do decide to come over and play, as well as the guards that they have here. This could be their most important pickup, again maybe long term. Carla Late was selected from the Dallas Wings. Late was the number 9 overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. She's a nice guard that stays in motion. She would probably play backup. She's got a quick first step and can get into the lane. She would be an excellent backup to either starting guard, but like a lot of other players on the team as an international player, she would probably see less playing time comparatively to her role overseas. Kate Martin was selected from the Las Vegas Aces. She was the 18th pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. She was probably the most emotional pick. A lot of fans and even her teammates were sorry to see her go, but almost everyone has the same sentiment. She'll be able to shine and thrive in Golden State. She played alongside Caitlin Clark at Iowa. Really thriving and performing in her role is ultimately what got her drafted by the Aces, with Natalie Nakase being the top scout and being a part of drafting her in the first place. It's a perfect pick for Martin and the Valkyries, in the sense that she could help a star shine or show she's a superstar in her own right. She can shoot the 3, she keeps the ball moving, and she's good on drives past closeouts. She'll be a key piece to the Valkyries' development, reuniting with Coach Nakase, and probably feel more secure finishing out her contract without getting cut. Stephanie Talbot was picked up from the LA Sparks. She has Olympic experience, earning a bronze medal, and she won MVP in the WNBL, the Australian Women's Professional Basketball League. She's also got a good 3-ball and can fit into the fast-paced offense. That's a part of Nakase's plan to stay competitive out the gate. So this seems to be a key factor for the Talbot pick, but it also seems like she'll fit the culture Nakase is trying to build up there as well. Cecilia Zandalicini was picked up from the Minnesota Lynx. This was an exciting pick for me because there was more defensive potential here. A great offensive player with her movement, decision making, and ability to shoot, but she's got great length and at 6'2" could put in mean work with the other bigs in the post. That's just really good height next to Fagbenle or Rupert. She won a championship with the Minnesota Lynx back in 2017, so she's got championship experience as well. The Valkyries selected Kayla Thornton from the New York Liberty, which was a steal for the Valkyries and a tough loss for the Liberty. She's a feared defender and brings plenty of veteran experience. The Valkyries were almost guaranteed to get a solid player from the Liberty after a championship run. She plays with energy and tenacity, and she's a good representation for the culture on and off the floor. I'm sure her presence along with her skill and motor made her an easy pick. They selected Monique Billings from the Phoenix Mercury. Billings will be an unrestricted free agent, so if signed, she would be the Valkyries' core Supermax player. Billings was a consistent scorer for the Dream, another true post player. She's 6'4" and has a good touch rebounding. She's played a lot overseas, so if offered the Supermax, I'm sure she'll take it. I can't say I saw this selection coming, but good veteran presence in the locker room or on the bench is always a treat for the team, but for the Supermax position, that's a surprising selection. Again, without knowing who the Mercury or any other teams protected, this was obviously their best option. They didn't take anybody from the Seattle Storm. No clues as to why yet. There's a lot going on in Seattle after the investigation and Joel Lloyd requesting a trade. But it's odd not to take any value whatsoever, even as a trade piece down the line. But that's the simplest answer. They saw no value in whoever was available from the Storm. Julie Van Loo was selected from the Washington Mystics. At 31, she's well known for her time with the Belgian national team, Eurobasket, and Summer Olympics. She started a majority of the games for the Washington Mystics this past season. She's more of a combo guard, capable of playing on and off the ball. She's a good creator out of the pick and roll, can shoot from deep, and is a creative playmaker. She'd play well off Burton or Late. She'll probably be the starting point guard. I didn't see Washington making her available, but I can definitely see why the Valkyries picked her up. Like other leagues, the team will make cuts after training camp, and the Valkyries are no exception. They'll probably still sign a few more players in free agency and hopefully make a few trades. Regardless of who the Valkyries have signed right now, they have until February to be below the salary cap for their signed roster, which makes picks like Kate Martin so efficient. She's all but guaranteed to get to play out her contract and possibly play for another with this move. Staying on the Aces could have gotten her cut if she wasn't high enough on their board to protect in the first place. If Late signs and does come over to the WNBA, she's in the same boat, and the Valkyries have their 1-2 punch, being able to keep their current contracts as the CBA is likely to change in the next season. The development and investment for this squad would go to those two until the dust settles. The next expansion draft and possibly more, along with the changes to the CBA, the players will start signing deals higher than the current cap, which makes Martin and Late contracts keys to building over the next few years. I think we're looking at a starting lineup with Van Loo, Burton, Thornton, Billings, and Condi, with Martin and Late getting the key rotation minutes. I like Burton and Van Loo running the offense. I think they can do magic with the bigs they have access to. I can see Martin starting with Van Loo or Burton, with the other coming off the bench in a guard rotation position. It's hard for me to say Billings won't start if that's their Supermax player, but I guess it could work if she's in the 6-player position, playing the veteran role in the locker room, on the bench, and on the floor. I'm excited to see what type of offense they run and if they can maximize it as a team. Nakase has mentioned a lot of competitiveness, shooting the 3-ball, and being fast-paced. They have the capability to be really good in the pick and roll, handoffs, and fakes. This team is already high energy and players that have learned to move without the ball and play without the ball for various reasons. It was a really smart draft overall, whether intentional or not. They ended up heavy with international players that play with a lot of fundamentals, and building a franchise from the ground up that could come in very handy in these early years, adding to that Golden State winning culture. I honestly think this is a scrappy team, a hungry group that wants to see playing time and stability in their careers. They all have a chance to redirect their careers and make sure they still have years in the league. I'm excited to see the Valkyries play. I've loved watching the Warriors play over the years. I think they did a great job with this draft, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were trades to tighten the ship, and of course some key free agents that could end up in purple jerseys. I don't think they'll be the worst in the league. You still have the Mystics in Atlanta that are kind of in the same boat. A nice group of players still waiting for a superstar to round them out. If the Valkyries can make some trades or pick up a true sleeper in the free agency market, they might make the playoffs, but for the most part, this will be a development developmental year for the franchise overall. It's harder to gauge because as an expansion team, you're pretty much filled with rotation players, role players, players that didn't play the star role on their previous professional teams, even if they did in college. I think the guard-big combos are really good matchups. If they can create some chemistry between players like Kate Martin and Temi Fagbenle, Burton and Condi, or even just having the bigs play a lot of action with the guards shooting the three or taking open drives. I think fundamentally they have the capability to be an okay team. The WNBA is more fundamentally dominated, so moving the ball and being able to execute could win them some games, could sneak them some win games. But without true star power, they just wouldn't make it far in the playoffs. I really like the logo design. I think it shows off how new and different they want to be. It gives me Raiders vibes in a sense of logos and comparing it to the other teams, just in its intricacies. But I like the way this team looks. They're a scrappy young team. They can obviously shoot the three. They got a lot of three-point shooters on this team. They're probably going to have to focus a lot on defensive schemes. But overall, they could be a force further down the line. They're not a championship team as is, but definitely with some additions, some trades, some fine-tuning, they could be a sneaky team in the future. But overall, the fans seem excited for this first roster. The Golden State Valkyries will be a welcome addition to the WNBA, and hopefully we see more teams added in the future. But overall, I like the team. I do think there will be trades. Obviously, who they pick up in the collegiate draft will be important as well. So this should be a good first season for the Golden State Valkyries.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.